So welcome everyone to our discussion today. So today what we are going to see is we'll spend some time in understanding one framework. That framework can be applied to solving your machine learning problems, your deep learning problems. In most of the situations, what we can do is you can take the help of this framework. What is this framework called as? In simple terms, we'll try to understand what is this framework. It is called as OSEM. This is the acronym for our framework. So remember these points, what we are discussing today. They are going to help you solve any kind of problem which is given to you. So you can consider this framework as your project life cycle. So whenever any project you are doing, whenever any problem you are trying to solve in the field of machine learning or deep learning, remember that there is a framework that you can apply for solving your problem. So what is that framework called as? OSEMN, OSEMN framework. So now we have to understand what do you mean by O, what do you mean by S, what do you mean by E, what do you mean by M, what do you mean by N. So we have to understand the different terms. Present in our acronym. So let us try to discuss those concepts. So O means you have to obtain your data first. You have to obtain your data. What do you mean by obtain? Obtain means you have to collect your data. Data collection. So how are the methods that you can use for data collection? We have to understand. So you can collect your data using primary research. This is one way of collecting your data. What is the second way of collecting your data? You can do secondary research for us. So primary research and secondary research are the techniques what you can apply for collection of your data. Now, what do you mean by primary research? Primary research is nothing but you can conduct any experiment. You can send any pamphlet. You can send any flyer and you can collect your data. So you can design one simple survey. You can ask some questions in your survey. And if you are living in an apartment complex, what you can do? You can share this questionnaire, what you have developed, with all the people in your society. and we can collect our responses. So we can collect our responses from all the different people that we have in our society. So what is this method called as? This method is called as primary research. You are conducting one experiment. You are doing some data collection by designing some survey. And in that survey, you are asking some different types of questions. And then you can share this questionnaire with all the people who are there in your society, and they are going to answer this survey. So this methodology of collecting your data is called as primary research. This is one method, how you can collect. What is another method of collecting your data? It is called as secondary research first. So what are you going to do in the secondary research? You can simply go to the internet. Okay. And you can collect data from any website. So you can go to any government website like World Bank, IMF, Reserve Bank of India. So you can go to these websites and then you can collect data. So this is another method. What is this method called as? It is called as secondary research first. So it depends upon our choice. What is the data collection method that we are going to use? So you can either go for primary research or you can go for secondary research first. Up to your choice. So many government websites are available for us where you can collect your data. And you can go to these government websites and you can collect your data. So these are the two methods that you can use for collecting your data. Now, this is the first step, what we are supposed to do. Data collection. Now, after collecting your data, what is it you have to do? You have to scrub your data. Data scrubbing. That means you have to clean your data. We have to, next step is we have to clean our data. So under cleaning of our data set, what are the aspects? What are the important points that we have to remember? The first thing is whenever you get any data set, make sure we try to describe that data set. Make sure you are in a position to describe. So how many rows are there? How many columns are there? Okay. Then what are the different data types? Of your variables that you have in your data set. Try to understand them. And then take a look at your first 5 records. Take a look at your last 5 records. Get an understanding about your data. So what kind of values are there in different columns in my data set? In my first 5 rows, in my last 5 rows. So this is called as data description first. Next, what you are going to do, you have to look for any missing values are there in your data set. Look for any outliers are there in your data set. Records means rows. So when I say record here, record means rows. So look for any missing values are there. Look for any outliers are there. And you should be in a position to handle these missing values and outliers first. So different methods are there that you can use, which can help you overcome the challenge of missing values and outliers for us. So these methods are called as imputation methods that you can use, and you can overcome the problem of your missing values, your null values in your data set, or you can overcome the problem of outliers in your data set. So all this is part of your scrubbing your data, what you are doing. So under scrubbing your data set, you should be in a position to clean your data first. So under cleaning of your data, make sure you are in a position to first describe your data set. So how many rows you have, how many columns you have, what are the different data types, what are the first few records, what are the last few records. All these things you should be in a position to find out. Then check for any missing values, check for any outliers, check for any duplicate records if you have duplicate rows in your data set or not. Then you should find out, how can I handle any missing values if I have in my data set? How can I handle any missing values? How can I handle my outliers? How can I handle my duplicate rows? So we should be in a position to overcome these challenges. So clean your data. So this is the next step what you have to do. After data collection, you have to perform your scrubbing of your data. Now after scrubbing of our data, what is that you are going to do? We have to explore our data. E stands for data exploration first. E stands for exploration. So what is that? Our objective is to find out any patterns are there in our data. Our objective is to find out any relationships are there in our data. Our objective is to find out what is the structure of our data. That is the next step. So how can you explore your data? You can apply concepts like visualizations. You can explore your data using different visualization techniques which are available for us. What are those visualization techniques? You can create our histograms. You can create our box plots. You can create our density plots, regression plots. So all these different types of visualizations are available for us. Scatter plots. You can understand each and every variable present in your data set with the help of these visualization techniques. So with the help of histogram, you can understand what is the distribution of your data. With the help of box plots, you can find out, is there any presence of distinctly different observations in my data set or not? So what is it we are trying to do here? After cleaning our data, after scrubbing our data, we want to explore our data. So you have to explore each and every variable. So when you are trying to explore each and every variable in your data, you have to perform these visualization techniques. You have to perform your univariate histograms technique. You can perform your bivariate histogram technique. You can apply your box plots. You can create your density plots, regression plots, scatter plots. All these things you can do. What is the ultimate objective for us? You have to find out relationships in your data. How are my variables related to each other? So I can simply use my scatter plot. And then I can find out what is the relationship between my two variables for us. I can do this. So you're exploring what are the possible relationships that you can have between your variables in your data with the help of all these visualizations, what you can create. You can take the help of your scatter plots. You can take the help of clustering concepts. Using the information present in your data, we can try and find out what observations are similar for us. And I can group those observations together. And I can form my clusters. So all this, why am I doing all this? Because I want to understand what is the relationship between my variables. I want to understand how my variables are associated with each other. Then I can understand what is a pattern that is there in my data across different variables. What is the advantage when I understand the pattern? I can simply design or develop an equation which is capable of capturing this pattern, which is capable of capturing this relationship that is existing between our variables. That is the purpose of exploring your data. So under exploration, you have to remember that you can take the help of visualization concepts. What are the different visualization concepts? Histograms, box plots, density plots, regression plots, scatter plots, all these things are. They are going to help you understand the patterns present between different variables in your data set. They'll help you understand which variables are more associated with each other. And using this relationship, you can design or develop an equation between the different variables that you have in your data set. So this is called as exploring your data. After exploring your data, what is the next step? You have understood what is the pattern, what is the structure present in your data set. You have understood that. Now what you can do? Suppose X and Y variables are there. X is experience of a person. Y is salary of a person. What is that you can understand? As your experience increases, the salary of a person is also going to increase for us. So this is the pattern what you have discovered present in your data set. Now what is the next thing you have to do? You have to develop or design an equation which can capture this pattern. So a simple equation, what I can design is y is equal to mx plus. So now my y is salary and my m is slope. What is my x? X is my experience plus some constant. So now this equation what I've developed is in a position to capture the relationship. So what is this called? It is called as model. This equation is nothing but it is the model what you have developed. So this model is going to capture all the information which is present between our two variables, salary and experience. So this model, you can call it as a machine learning model. If you are working on machine learning problems, you can call it as a deep learning model. If you are working on deep learning concepts, you can call it as AI models. If you are working on AI concepts, it is the same framework what you can use. Whether you are working on machine learning problems or deep learning problems or AI problems, whatever it is, this is what we are going to do. Developing a relationship between our variables. So this is called as model. M stands for developing a model for your data. So first we have started off with obtaining our data. O. Second, we have discussed our data scrubbing or scrubbing of our data. And third, we have discussed data exploration first. So exploration is very important. Creating different visualizations, understanding the pattern, structure, relationships in your data. Then the next phase is using that information, using that relationship, you are building your models. That is the idea. We are building our models. So one by one, we are able to see. Okay. Then what is the last thing that we have to discuss? It is interpreting. N stands for interpret. So we should be in a position to interpret what is the model trying to tell us. What insights is our model trying to explain to us? interpreting the relationship between our two variables what we have discussed, your work experience and your salary. You should be in a position to find out how good is your model. You should be in a position to find out what is the accuracy for your model. You should be in a position to then find out if there are any possible opportunities which can help us improve the performance of your model. So the last and final activity in our framework is interpretation. So these are the important activities in your project life cycle that you can use for any project that you're working on. Machine learning or deep learning or AI, whatever it is. Apply this framework and you will be able to create your solutions for whatever problem you're trying to solve. Okay. So do not proceed in solving your data science or machine learning problems or AI problems without using this framework. It is important for us.
Hey, hi, Varun. Thanks for taking care till now, and thanks for explaining the topics of Osman framework. So, hey, hi, everyone. Again, this is John Gabriel. Hope you all had a great session of learning about Osman framework, how we have to start out with a project and what is the project lifecycle and everything. So, anyway, welcome back to this everyday learning program with ExcelR. I think we are on day 5. So hope you're all doing great. And before we get into today's topic as per the agenda, so is my voice is loud and clear to you all? Once confirm me on the chat box. Hi, Ms. Harsh, Pratyush, Srisha, Vala. Nilay, I was a bit occupied for the first 30 minutes. So to engage you all for the first 30 minutes, we had the other trainer just speaking about the project's life cycle and everything, just to keep you engaged. That's it. All right. Voice is clear. Wonderful. So let's get into today's topic. So let me do a quick recap. So since we had already crossed 30 minutes, so let me do a quick recap before we get into today's topic. So we started our session by understanding the brief history of this artificial intelligence, from where it all got started, and we learned about this industrial revolution. And now we are in one industrial revolution called as Industry 4.0. We call it as digital transformation, where we are trying to connect most of the devices, right? So where exactly we are able to find out these new technologies, automation related stuffs. So that's what it is happening today. And most of the automation is happening that is going to help human beings to smoothen the process. So that's what we learned it over there. And also we discussed about terminology differences with respect to data science, machine learning, deep learning, natural language processing, and everything. And also we have seen what are all the different job profiles available with respect to, again, data related term, that is data engineer, big data engineer, and data scientist, data analyst, data analytics person, business analyst. So in this way we looked onto it, and also the roadmap to achieve a data scientist. What are the things we have seen there? And then we discussed about day two, we discussed about this life cycle of a data scientist. So in case, even that's what even Varun has covered the same thing, but in another way. So we learned it like an agile methodology where we are trying to deliver a project in an incremental approach, starting from the business understanding, data collection, and data understanding. So we looked onto that life cycle. So with that life cycle, domain knowledge is pretty much important. So without understanding the domain, it is going to be very much difficult for us to take any problem statement to solve it. And also we discussed about what are the different languages which is available with respect to this AI world, that is Python versus R, and why we are choosing Python. And then we discussed about this. We looked on to the agenda of Python programming. Then we had 5 different chapters of this Python, starting from Hello World, and we worked on importance of creating a variable, and then we worked on different data types with Python, and then we have worked on the string and string methods, and then how to interact with the user and what is the absolute function. And then we created our user defined function. So that is by using a def keyword, what are all the different ways that we can create it. That's where we spent a good amount of time in the last session. And then we discussed about conditional statements, where we discussed about equal to, not equal to, and also we discussed about this membership operator. That's what we say, equal to, not equal to, and operator, nor operator. In this way we discussed about it. And then while statement, we discussed it, and I think have given some daily task to work on it. So how did you all get chance to work on the task? Yes. Nabila, Hush, great. Abat, Kirti, wonderful. I'm not sure about Matham. Matham's hand is being raised for a long time. Wonderful. In case if you have not worked on it, try to only listening to the lecture will not help you out. So try to, great Pratyush, Pranav, Jagdish, wonderful. So listening to the lecture will not help you out. So try to work on the things rather listening and only looking into the things in the screen. So try to work on it if you haven't worked on the things yet. Okay, so let's get into today's topic. So today we are going to discuss about 2 things. One is Python data structures. So what I mentioned as chapter 6 in the Python programming agenda, what I've shown there. And then we will be having an idea about Python libraries. So what is this Python libraries all about and everything, we'll be looking onto it. So now let me get into this particular topic. See, this Python, there are basically 4 different data structures in Python. Now I'm going to get into the session. See this, there are basically 4, this is the major topic that we wanted to discuss. There are 4 data structures in Python. One is list, set, dictionaries, and tuples. So these 4 we call it as 4 data structures in Python. Now let's go one by one. If you look onto the sets, so sets can be initialized by open and close curly brace. Square brackets. I think I mentioned this. This list term when we are discussing about this variable in the Python programming session. So in order to contain the values or take some values, you need to go with any one of this data structure. So the one data structure is square bracket, open and close square bracket. We call it as an empty set. So in order to take some values within it is a list, not set basically. So in order to take some values within this list, you have to take it within double square brackets. So if you wanted to hold some values within the list, you have to again take it within square brackets, and you can give the values. And list can be indexed. See this, it can contain duplicate elements. So lists data structure allows duplicate element also, and it can be see, the slicing can be done. That is nothing but it is indexable, and we can just give some change it. Mutable is nothing but once it is assigned, the values can be changed also. Slicing can be done used for printing. Now, what is this exactly? To learn it better, what we can do, let's all start scripting now. So you all can open up your Jupyter notebook along with me. Let me start open it. Sorry, I just mistakenly said sets. I'm speaking about lists here. Lists I'm speaking about. So let me get into this. So I'm just opening up my Jupyter notebook, EDL program, and I'm going to open up a new Python 3 notebook. And here, let me give a name. It is Python data structures. All right, Python data structures. So 4 data structures in Python. Are we here also be listed down? One is list, sets. Let's go in this order. Tuple. Fourth one is dictionaries. So there are 4 data structures in Python. So these are 4 data structures. Now let's start with first one, list. List. So now let's say here I'm able to have again, let me take maybe Jagdish. Now Jagdish, let's say Jagdish is going for one DMart store, and he will be what any grocery stores, if you go any big departmental stores. So we try to carry one empty cart and we try to pull in, right? So let's take it in this way. I'm going to carry one empty cart. Let me zoom in maybe so that you can see that's empty cart. So I'm just, this is my empty cart. So there is nothing here. I'm just going to assign it empty cart number 1. All right. And maybe you can see this empty cart. I'm just giving empty cart. See this, there is nothing here. Now, what is the type of this empty cart? I want to check it out. So TYPE, inside I'm typing EMP and then tab button, I got it. So you should be coming with my pace if you have practiced this Python scripting with respect to the daily tasks which I've given the last few sessions. If not, again, definitely you won't be able to come up with my pace, how I'm typing it and how I'm getting this thing. You will feel always confused because it's something which we have already learned in the previous session. And I believe that you all have practiced that and attending this live session. All right, and that way it was going to be very beneficial for both of us to learn many things within the given time schedule. Okay, so now it says it is a list. Right. So now what I want to do is nothing but now I wanted to take some values. Let's say here, here I'm having maybe let me take Akash here. Let's say Akash, mother is asking Akash to go and get some, let's say, vegetables to get it. Let's say one by one, let's note it down. Let's say it is something like mm, onion. Let's take onion and maybe potato. Some things to buy. Potato, oats. Let's take it like oats, cashews, maybe almonds, milk. Let's say banana, something. Okay, banana. So these are the items to buy. Now these items I'm going to take it in something like the items to buy. Let me give it items to buy. Okay, let me give a name here. Now items to buy, I'm typing it, giving a tab space. Now I got everything. Onion, potato, whatever the things I mentioned, I got it over here. Now the next thing is nothing but let's say I wanted to, this is how we can get some values with list with respect to square bracket. That is first point. Now I wanted to check. Now let's say indexing is possible. Now in Python, indexing starts from which number? Indexing starts from 0, right? So now what is the index? If I wanted to take out only caches, what is the script? Can you give me? Great. Items to buy. It is 0, 1, 2, 3, right? Wonderful. Great, Astosh. Wonderful. Items to buy 3 now. So now so if indexing is possible, slicing is also possible, right? So I wanted to slice it from, let's say, except banana, I wanted to print it. Or let's say except milk and banana, I have to print the other stuffs. Can you give me the script? Except banana, milk and banana, I have to print the other remaining stuffs. Okay, Aditi. All right. Most of you are giving the right answers, but the point here is nothing but whenever I'm saying except the last two elements, always we have to think in the line. Okay, let me eliminate colon last two elements. Okay, so look onto the statement how it is not like it is, even you can go with positive indexing also, that's okay. But in case in machine learning world, if I'm saying this, hey, except last column, take all the columns out. That's what we say. Or we can say except last column, I want all the other columns. So what we do, instead of counting all the numbers, I simply say except last column. So -1. So are you all getting my point, what I'm saying? All right. It is nothing wrong in going with positive indexing all the time, but in practice, we have to sharpen the way how you're writing the scripts. Wonderful, Jagdish. So now see this. So indexing is possible, slicing is possible. Now I wanted to get some duplicate elements. Let's say here, positive indexing of the 0 to we can say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we can just give till 5, 0 to 5 we can give it. So we will be getting this first 5. I think we learned that in the first session or second session also. We call it as positive indexing. In case if you have not watched it, kindly just go back and watch the recording. You will be getting it. So now see this. Let's say I wanted to add some elements. Let's say cashews and oats. This one I wanted to add it. Okay. Now see this. Now if you see oats, which means that it list allows duplicate elements. That is one of the property. Okay, just keep it in your mind. Now the next point is nothing but okay. Now I wanted to change. The third index is nothing but cashews. I wanted to change it to something like Kalachi. Okay. Now if I'm looking onto it, it got changed, which means that this one we called as mutable. That is, values once got assigned, it can be changed in future. So these are the few properties of lists. Okay. Now let's list down one by one. Now list. Let me ask some questions. Is it one dimension or two dimension data structure? List, is it a one dimension or two dimension data structure? One dimension. In case if you're not sure what is this one dimension is nothing but I will be having either rows or columns. Only one, you can consider this as rows or columns, anything you can say. But anyway, you are having only one dimension, right? Now, list, is it a heterogeneous or homogeneous? Sajid, sir, if you give the same value in list twice, will it be taken as a unique? That's what I said, right, Sajid? It allows duplicate elements. It is counting it. Wonderful, everyone. I think everybody got it. It is heterogeneous. Even though I'm not mentioned this point, it is heterogeneous. It is 2.3. It is a float data type. Let me give 2. Now, even if you see this, it also takes a float and also it takes a integer. So it is heterogeneous. Great, Snehal. Wonderful. You got the point. So it is heterogeneous data type. All right. Now the next point. It allows duplicate elements. List allow duplicate elements. What are the other properties? It is indexable. List is indexable. Great, Harsh. It is mutable. Indexable, and we can say if it is indexable and it's also sliceable too, right? Sliceable. Sneha, we can append the data. You're right, Sneha. I think you already know most of the things. I think you should teach everyone. So mutable. Mutable is nothing but it is changeable. Once the values got assigned, it can be changed in future. Right. So these are all the few properties with respect to list. Now let's move on to the next one. That is, we learned about how exactly this list is going to do. The second data structure is nothing but sets. Okay, let's quickly go walk through this particular sets and come back here. See, this sets can be initialized by using a set keyword and open and close parentheses. All right. See the difference here. In case if you wanted to get some values within sets, you have to take it within open and close curly braces. Okay. See the difference. It is parenthesis for empty, for initializing an empty set. To hold the values, we have to take it within curly braces. Right. Glani. So the point why I'm stressing for this empty, creating an empty set or empty initializing, this we call it initializing an empty set. So why we wanted to initialize it or why we have to create an empty set, just think of this example. Now outside your departmental store, you're having an empty cart. You won't be having anything to load it, right? So what you do in the when we are going for some machine learning programming, so we try to create an empty data structure or list, and during one process we try to do one process, and whatever the results we get, we try to add the results one by one. We will run a for loop, and for each, let's say I'm going to run for 20 iterations, and for each and every iterations I will be having some value. I will be creating an empty list, and I will be appending the values to this particular empty list one by one. So for that reason, creating an empty list or empty set or empty dictionary or a tuple is something very important. You all got what I'm saying? All right, great. Even if it is not understandable, just I'll be doing it now. Okay, see this. Basically, there is one empty. Okay, I'll come to this point in a while. But before that, let's look onto the sets. Now, let's take a read on the sets once. And then there is something which I wanted to do a comparison. See this. Set can be initialized like this. To hold the values, we need to take it between curly braces. And set elements can't be indexed. So if it can't be indexed, can we slice the set elements? If it is not indexable, is it sliceable? Not. It is not. See this, slicing not be possible. So and it is mutable. It says it is mutable. In the last case, we just went for this indexing and we change the values. But now we can't do this indexing part. Then how we can just go for the mutable? How it says it is mutable? I'm just getting a question in my mind. So see this. Let's do this. This is empty card number 2. Empty card number 2. So using a set keyword, open and close parenthesis. Okay. Now let me check the type of empty card number 2. It says it is a set. Right. Now I wanted to get some values. So let me take the same thing, items to buy. Let me copy. Let's take items to buy 2. Here we just need to know the difference. So here we have to take it with curly braces, right? Curly braces. Now if you see sets, is it allowing duplicate elements? Is sets allowing duplicate elements? No. So duplicate elements is not be duplicate element sets will never allow. So now if you only the unique elements, it is going to display to you. So that is one important point to be noted. Right. And it is says it is not indexable. Right? Let's check that out. So what is the position of oats here? This baby potato. Potato. Is it 3? Is it 2? It is 1. Index number always starts from 0, 0, 1. See this? It is set object. It is not subscriptable, which means that it is not indexable. If it is not indexable, can we just go for slicing? No. So let's say 1, 2, 3. See this? Slicing is also not possible. So then how can I change it? So, but set says it is mutable. So in the previous case list, what we have done, we looked onto that, we just mentioned the index number, and then we said, okay, is equal to we have changed to something like banana or whatever it is, right? Here it is not possible because it is not indexable. Then how we can change it? That's when the set related functions comes for the execute. So set dot, if you give tab button, you will be getting add, clear, copy, difference. So these are all called as what? What do we call this? Set operations, right? We call this as set methods, right? Great, Sneha. Set methods, or we can say it is set functions. Anything, methods or functions, both are same. Now, item to, what is items to buy to? What is the data type of this? Items to buy to? It is set, right? So what I'm doing, items to buy to dot tab button. If I'm giving it, I'm able to see add, clear, copy. Everything is a function. Let's say I wanted to add one element. Let's say add is a function, so open and close parenthesis. Now I wanted to know what exactly is what exactly this add will do. So shift triple tap, I'm giving it. So this one says add an element to a set. This has no effect if the element is already present. Let's say I wanted to add strawberry. Strawberry. Okay, now it got shift enter I've given. Now let me see items to add. Okay, strawberry got added. Strawberry got added over here. Now let's say I wanted to remove some elements, items to buy. Let's say clear is available. Let me use clear. What exactly clear function? Removes all the elements from the set. Let me give shift enter. Now let me see items to buy. It is an empty set. So set is having set's own functions. In a similar way, now if I go back, if I'm seeing this one, items to buy, this, what is the data type of this items to buy? It is if you don't specify the index number according to the alphabetical order, it will be displayed, Sneha. In case if you wanted to mention that index number, we can go for one method called as update. Right. See, there is a lot of other functions which we can see. Here we should be finding something like update. With respect to update, you can mention that index number and everything you can do. Right, now I'm not getting into that functions. So a few functions I'm just touching it just to make it clear. So now see this items to buy, it is a list, right? Let me give items to buy dot tab append, clear, copy. Now these are nothing but list related functions. Now let's say append. Okay, append. So to this list, what I wanted to append, items to buy we have seen. Now let's say I wanted to append maybe strawberry here. Okay, it got appended. Now if you see, okay, strawberry got appended over here. Now what is the purpose? What I was saying is nothing but see this. Basically, I'll be creating one empty list. Let's say empty cart. Empty cart is equal to empty list. So as of now, we don't have anything over here, right? So now what I do, we can just see that out, empty cart. It is having, it doesn't have anything. So now what I do is nothing but, let's say for I in range of 1, 11. Okay. Now what I want to do is nothing but, let's say print, not print. I want just my empty cart. Let's say I plus 1, some operation need to be done and stored with respect to I. First time I will be coming in and I plus 1 is nothing but 2, and 2 will be stored in I. Now this empty cart dot, see this is an empty cart list dot. If I'm giving append, whatever the list I'm getting it, append is a function. Now I want it to append this I. Let me give this I. Okay, now this is also done. Now if you're seeing empty cart, see this 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is what I was saying. So firstly, we will be trying to create an empty list. All right, then we try to do some process here, and an iterative process we can say. And the final result need to be acquired in this particular empty list. One by one, we can append it. And finally, we'll be taking this result for plotting or to do any such process we try to use it. So the point here, what I'm trying to explain, creating an empty set or empty list is very important to accomplish some sort of process so that we can store some values in and finally we can take that as an output. Is that point clear what I'm trying to say? Jyoti, Aditi, Srisha. All right, great. So now here I would like to give a task. Great, Vaibhav. Here, Pratyush, wonderful. So here again, what do you think the task that I would be giving here? What would be the task for you? You can give, you can decide your own task. I think most of you might have guessed it. All right. So daily task number 3, come up with 2 examples for all data structure related methods. So not with respect to only sets, Harsh. Sets it's having sets own functions. List is having list own functions. So if you're able to come up with at least 2 examples for each and every data structures, you should be very good in your data structures here. All right. So again, this is something which I used to give it for my data science learner. The same assignment I'm just giving it to you for your self-practicing, self-exploration you can do. Right. So now we got to understand the difference between list and sets. Now let's try to understand about the third data structure, that is tuple. All right, let's go through this tuple and we can be back here to the Jupyter notebook in a while. So see, this tuples is nothing but to create an empty tuple, we have to go with this open and close parenthesis. And to get some values within tuple open and close parenthesis, you can get some values like this. And it can be indexable. And if it is indexable, slicing, is it possible? What do you say? Yes, slicing is possible. So slicing can also be done on tuples. Great. And it can contain duplicate elements. Great. And it says it is immutable. Values can't be changed once assigned. All right. Let's try that out here. So tuple, let's create empty card number 3. So just open and close parenthesis to create an empty card, sorry, empty tuple. So now you can check the type of this empty card number 3, just to make sure whether it is tuple or not. Yes, it is tuple. Now let me try to take the values. Let me copy this. Copy. Let me come down. Let me paste it. Now let me not take with respect to um, any parenthesis or brackets or nothing. I'm not giving anything here, but I'm just separating with comma. So now items to buy 3. So let me remove this. Now what is the default data type here? Sorry, the default data structure is, maybe we can check that out. Items to buy 3. The default data structure is tuple. Even though if you're not enclosing with the parenthesis here, the default data structure is nothing but tuple. That is very important point to be noted. Okay. Even if you're taking it or not, the default one is tuple. The default data structure is tuple. See this tuple. Okay. Now I want to see this tuple also allows duplicate elements. Okay. Now I wanted to go for indexing. Is it possible? Items to buy 3. Let me go with third index. Yes, third index, it is possible. And because of that, slicing, is it possible? Yes, except last 4 elements, it's possible. And is it mutable? Let me copy, let me paste it. This third index, that is where exactly I'm having cashews, I wanted to change it by maybe, let's say I would like to change it by something, mm, ragi oats. Let's see, ragi. See this? So items 2 by 3, ragi, that is tuple object does not support item assignment. Okay, this is what we tried with list. It was working. Tuple, it was not working. So what we tried with tuple, we tried with tuple functions. So sorry, sets functions, we tried it. Now let's try to find out, is there anything like tuple functions we have? Items 2 by 3 dot tab button count and index. So these are the two functions what we have with respect to tuple. So mostly we try not to operate with respect to tuple, but it is good to know. So tuple only we have count and everything. So we don't have this any functions to go for slicing. So it is not mutable. So we can't change the values once it got assigned. That is the point to be noted. Now, what are the key points to be taken here? Maybe can you just give some points? Tuple, is it one dimension or two dimension? One dimension. Tuple, is it heterogeneous or homogeneous? Maybe you can try with it. 7.8. So it can take values also. Great, Sneha. So let me not give that. Let us make it meaningful. So it is heterogeneous. And then is it immutable, right? It is immutable. Great. Immutable. And is it allowing duplicate elements? Yes. Allows duplicate elements. And what else? It is indexable. Indexable and sliceable. Great. Any other thing we have missed? I don't think so. Great. Now the same thing, can you just give it with respect to sets also? I think sets here we missed it. Sets, is it one dimension or two dimension? One dimension. And is it heterogeneous or homogeneous? We'll try that out. All your data structure is basically heterogeneous itself. See this? 5.6 it is taking in. It is heterogeneous. Heterogeneous. Then the next one is no duplicates. Yes, it does not allow. Never allows. Duplicate elements. And it is mutable. Mutable, and what else? Is it indexable? Sliceable? No. Is it indexable, sliceable? No, right? Not indexable, but not sliceable. So these are the few properties of this particular sets and tuples. Okay, you can note it down. So Jagdish's question is, sometimes output is not coming, but when I create a new notebook and then do the programs, output is coming. May I know what mistake I'm making? I'm not sure what mistake you're making unless and until, firstly, unless and until I see your screen, I'm not sure about that, Jagdish. Secondly, even if your script, if it is correct, and sometimes the kernel get confused because of continuous shift and enter and everything. If you're just doing it again and again, sometimes it will go confused. Maybe that might be the reason. Or you might have closed this console window where exactly this command prompt window, if you're closing it, that is also a problem. So second time when you're opening it up, you can't open unless and until that console window got opened. Maybe second time it might got opened. So that might also be the reason. But again, unless and until I see your screen, what is a script that you have written, I can't come to one conclusion. Hope you get me. And Pratyush, sir, so difference between list and tuple is that list is mutable, tuple is not. Right. You got the point, Pratyush. So next question. Pratyush again, what does it mean by faster than list and tuple definition? That's not something which we are focusing on for now. The rest all stuff, because the time comparison what they are saying here. But again, that's not something which, because since list is not coming up with any restrictions, okay, so there is no proof that it is faster, but the point here is nothing but list will take all duplicate elements and everything. So but if you take for tuple will never take any duplicate elements, so we can think that it is positive, but that faster than list, that doesn't provide any significance to our study. Okay, fine. So now I think you all got this particular point. Now let's move on to the last data structure. That is fourth one, dictionaries. Very, very important thing, dictionaries. So now let's take a quick read on that screenshot and we'll come back here. So see this dictionaries. Dictionaries need to be initialized with open and close curly braces. And in order to get some values within dictionary, we need to go with something called a key value pair. Dictionary, even if you learn from Java programming language or any other programming language, dictionary, there is a term called as dictionary, which we call it as a key value pair. Okay, and it can't contain duplicate elements, but can contain duplicate values. And it says it is mutable. Slicing cannot be done. So we just gone through that. Now let's quickly go back there and we'll try to type it and see what difference it makes. Now let's take it as an empty cart number 4. Okay, just open and close curly braces. We can just check the type of empty cart number 4. So if you say it is a dictionary, all right, we got this particular part. So now see this. Now I wanted to check out. Let's say I wanted to create one dictionary here. Now it is. I say it's dictionary. We call it as a very important point. We call it as a. It is a key value pair. All right. It is very important term to be said. We call this dictionary as key value pair. Now what I wanted to start thinking about, I'm creating a curly braces. I'm giving a colon. Before colon, it is a key. After colon, it is a value, we can say. Let's say I'm going to create a key with the name if name, first name. All right. And the value for this is nothing but, let me try to keep maybe first name is Pratyush. All right. And again, let me come up. Let me try to take a first name as maybe let me take Jagadish. All right, Pratyush Jagdish. Right, come up. Now here the second name is last name colon, because see this is one key and value pair colon. This is my key and the values is for Pratyush. The last name is Kumar, comma Jagdish. The last name is R. Okay, this is a second key and value pair. Now comma the third one I would like to create, where exactly I would like to go with the name of, sorry, details of, let's say H colon. Let's say if it is a number, you can go with something like integers itself, normally 22, and Jagdish are 21. Okay, so this is my key and value pair. Shift enter. I got, okay, invalid syntax, where it is. Yes. So the point here is nothing but, in case if you're trying to take more than one value, we have to enclose within any one of the data structures. So now I would like to take it within list here. Let me try to with the list. List or tuple, anything should be fine. Let me take it within list. See this, from the mistakes I can learn it. All right. Now if you see, I got some values. Now I wanted to store this information in something called as maybe learner details. Learner details. Okay, now all this information got stored into learner details. Maybe in the next line itself, you can try to see learner details. You got it. Okay, now you wanted to know what are the key names available. So what are the keys names available here? What are the key names available here? Wonderful, Pratyush. Right? So this F name, L name, and age, those are the keys. To know that, what you can do, learn the details, dot, just give a tab button. You're able to see something called as keys. Since it is a function, just go with, see this F name. So to know the values, learn the details, dot, tab button, scroll down. This is dictionary related functions. Okay, Pratyush and Kumar, these are the values. Right. Now let's come back to the properties. Now, if you see, when we gone through that that material, it says dictionary don't allow or don't have duplicate keys, but duplicate values. What does it mean? Here, duplicate keys. See this, I'm having F name. Let me copy this. Okay, let me give a comma and I'm giving it. So this is a duplicate key. I'm having a duplicate key. And let me write some other values, maybe within this. Let me write Astush. And here I will write Aditi. Now let me give shift enter, see this? Astush and Adit, that's what it is coming up. So the first name, Pratyush and Jagdish, is not entered here, or it is not taking in. So it can have duplicate keys, but the point here is nothing but if we are having duplicate keys, the values will get overwritten and it is not good to have it over here. Why? Because see this, now the next from here, we are going to get into libraries. So let me just speak about one library, but the next part is Python libraries, but just um, get this done. All right. So let's say I wanted to read one file, not read one file, pandas dot pd dot, let's say I would like to go with now see this, whatever the details I mentioned it here, F name, L name, age. So all the keys got into this column names. All your F name, whatever the values you have, we got it over here, Astush and Aditi. L name we got Kumar and R. Age we got all these numbers. So the keys got into the column names and all the values available within this keys, we got it. So now if you're reading it, we got the complete data. So when the data, if it is in a dictionary format, we can create it as a data frame. Now let us go back here. So this one, with the help of library support, we can do this particular part. But again, we are not going to get into it now. Let's complete this dictionary and we can get it over here. Now, I think at this point, you should be clear with that. So is this point clear? Once confirm me why we shouldn't have duplicate keys, but can have duplicate values. Let's say here I'm going to have maybe others. In case if others, if I'm just having, or let's say it is marks. Okay, I'm having marks. Here I'm just having 22, 21. So here, if you see, there's just an add-on details. So marks 22, 21. So this makes sense. But duplicate keys, if I'm having it here, it will get overwritten. That's what the point. So is that point clear? Why we shouldn't have duplicate keys, but can have duplicate values? Can I get a quick information from everyone on the chat box? Great. So the next point, wonderful everyone. So the next point here, it says dictionary, it is not indexable. So this is a key and value pair, right? It is actually a two-dimensional data. How can it take 0th index, first index? So it's indexing also not possible. Even if you try, learner details, 0th index. Even if you try, you can't do that. But it says if it is not indexable, it is again not sliceable as well. But again, it says it is mutable, right? So how it is mutable? Learner details dot. See this here, I'm having update. All right, here I'm having update. Since update is a function, read this. So if e is present as a keys here, by using this particular function, we can update the values by mentioning the terms. And also what you can do, I'm not getting into this. So in case if you dot, let's say I want to go with clear option. Clear is nothing but which is going to clear this. So now if you see learner details, there is nothing here. It is an empty dictionary. So once values got assigned, it can be changed, it can be deleted. So we call it as a mutable. So now let me just try to note down this properties of dictionary. A dictionary, is it a one-dimensional or two-dimensional data structure? 2-dimension. Wonderful, great. So is it heterogeneous or homogeneous data structure? Obviously hetero. Great. What are the other properties? Not indexable, not sliceable. It is mutable. Right? It is mutable. Yes, no duplicate keys, but duplicate values. We can have that also. No duplicate keys, but can have duplicate values. So these are all the few properties of dictionaries. Now, what is the benefit of creating this dictionary? Before speaking about that, how many of you had this question? Okay, we discussed about 4 data structures, how we have to choose between these 4 data structures. When should I go with the list? When should I go with the tuple? When should I go with dictionaries? Anybody got this question? How to choose between list, sets, dictionaries, and tuple? Let me stop sharing it here. All right, I think most of you should have got this question. Right, Sneha, you got it. All right, let me explain that part. So see this. So tuple is nothing but, let me explain this part. You can just note it down. So we try to take the values within list if we don't want to give any restrictions when collecting the data. That is, no duplicate elements. Sorry, I don't want to give any restrictions to duplicate elements. And it need to be indexable. It need to be sliceable. So all the operations need to be performed. So mostly we try to collect the values within list itself. So if you don't want to give any restrictions to your data when you're trying to collect it, you can go with list. No restrictions equal to list. You can note it, and that's the key point. Now, in case if you wanted to know only the unique elements present in your data, for example, in the NLP, so natural language processing, what we can, well, for example, you can think of this example. Let's say you're having a 1,000-story pages book. Okay, so you're having a story book which has 1,000 pages. Now you want to know how many unique words is available in that particular book. So what we do, we try to take all these elements. We try to go with see this. In case, because in NLP we wanted to know that sets. Let me try to get into it. So now let's say something like a biography. Some text. Let me take it. Now I want. And so now I wanted to know some. Let me copy this. See this here, if you say biography, biographical is getting repeated. Now I want to know, here let me just try to take the values within triple quotes. Since it's more than one line, we have to take it with a triple quote. That's what we learned it. Let me end here by also using triple quotes. And let me give it within something like data. Okay, data. Now let me see this data. I got this. Now I want to know length of this data. That is how many characters or how many words, totally 962 words I'm able to say. But now I want to know how many unique words is available within this big data. We call it a big corpus. So for that reason, what we say, we try to use a set and data, and then we try to find out the length of this sets. 41. So totally 41 unique words is available within the sets. So you go with sets in case if you wanted to know the unique words or the unique values which is available in your big text or big corpus, only the unique elements you wanted to allow. Other than that, you should not allow it for that reason, you will be taking the values within sets. So that is a very important property of sets. Let me stop it. And how you have to go with tuple. So tuples, what is the main important property with respect to tuple is nothing but values once got assigned, it will never get changed in future. Now, in case if you're trying to get some values, now let's say you're trying to get some date of birth, or let's say your purchase timing, or anything. Let's say this the values once got assigned, it shouldn't be changed. Your date of birth, it will never be changed. Your name, it will never be changed anytime in the future. So but in case if you wanted to collect it, it need to be collected in a new variable. So with respect to the data whatever I'm having already, you can't erase it, you can change it. So that kind of date of birth, you can say, your purchase timing, you can say. So these kind of data, once it got assigned, it will never be changed in future. So those kind of data, what are we thinking, try to collect it within tuple. And fourthly, the dictionaries. So when you wanted to create a two-dimensional data structures, let's say a rows and column, you wanted to create it. So at that time, we go with the dictionaries, because even here, we created a key and value pair, and then we have created in one data frame, and then we try to pass on some values. So the point here is nothing but this is how we choose between list, tuples, sets, and dictionaries. List, no restrictions. Tuples will allow sets will allow only unique elements. So to get only unique elements, we go with sets. And once the value is got assigned, if it shouldn't be changed in the future, we go with tuple. And to create a two-dimensional data structure, we go with dictionaries. That's how we have to choose between list, sets, tuples, and dictionaries. And this point, you can just note it down here. Why I'm saying it is a dictionary? Because pandas is a library. If you say within this pandas.data frame, which is one of the function data, we have to pass it one thing. Pandas is a function which holds. See this, what are these called as argument, and there is a default argument, right? That's what data is equal to some value we have to pass it. The data is equal to some value we have to pass it. Now, what kind of value we have to pass the data is nothing but it should be a structured or homogeneous, iterable, or it should be a dictionary. So you can't see anything like list and everything over here. So it should be a dictionary format. So for that reason, we created a dictionary format where exactly learner details. It is in dictionary format, curly braces. So we try to take this dictionary learner details and we try to pass it over here with this pandas data frame where exactly we are able to have this data structure. That's it. Got it, everyone? Great. Then. Fine. So now the next part, I think we all understood how exactly this Python data structure is working. Now, why we have to learn all this Python data structures? Because each and every language is having one syntax to speak. Let's say English. So we have to follow all this grammar sentences, right? So present tense, past tense, it is having its own structure. Similar way, if you're learning about all this basics, when we are going for some when we are becoming mature in the programming language, we know whenever I say dictionary, how we have to write it, whenever I say list, how we have to get it. So these are all the very basics which we have to be strong upon, so that we will understand. If you see any scripts in Kaggle or whatever the platform is, you should be able to decrypt it and able to understand. So these are the very basics that you have to focus on. All right, so now we completed basics of Python programming. We are done with Python data structure. Now, today we will be having an introduction about this Python libraries. So for example, we looked on to one library called as pandas. And we have seen with respect to pandas, we have used one function called as data frame. And we try to create one row and column kind of thing we created. Now, what is this particular Python libraries are and everything, we can take it post break. Okay. So how many minutes you would like to take a break? 4, 5. 2 minutes, 5 minutes you wanted. Okay, no problem. You can just go for Glanny. Great, Glanny. Thanks for that. Thanks for the mention. But just try to go through day one's recording. You should be knowing all these things. All right. All the materials, whatever we are learning here, it's getting uploaded in the EDL dashboard. So you can go through that. Just try to watch day one recording. You should be getting all those things. Let me maybe show you that. So if you get into e-learning, sorry, not e-learning, it is EDL, I think so. EDL, some platform. What is it? Amar, can you just send this link for us? What is the link, everyone? Can you just send it? Something like EDL dashboard. Okay, regarding that, try to write a mail just once. If you have not got the access and everything, again, just go to your day one and day two recording. So LMS team, they would be, they would have explained you completely in and out. So just get in touch with them, or else go back and watch it, or else you can find all this recording in the YouTube channel of ExcelR. So you can go through that and you can also watch it. And all the materials, whatever you're using, it's getting uploaded. All right, Mohammed, thanks. So it's online learning. Sorry, this is the one. So it's online learning.excelr.com. So this is the dashboard. So where exactly if you get artificial intelligence EDL program, if you get into this, so recorded sessions and materials of AA EDL program. So if you get into the start, see this is the recording. You can find it. And here you will be getting all your materials, day one, day three recordings, and for you all, you will be getting it. Okay. So here, day three, there is no material basically. If there is no material, you won't be having it. Day three and day four, together you will be having it. Okay. So here you'll be having the script file attached. You can just download it. Yes, you need to sign in. Yes, right, Kalani. Just go through day one recording. You should be fine with it. Everything has been clearly explained. Just get into YouTube channel, and if you don't have this dashboard and everything, just type ExcelR and you will be getting it. All these videos and everything. They would be explaining all those things. Fine. So now the time is 8:28. Maybe let's go for a quick 4 minutes break. I hope it should be fine. So post 4 minutes, let's come back and just a slight introduction about what are this libraries and everything. We'll be understanding it till 8:55. We can go. All right. So 4 minutes break. We will resume our session at 8:32. Let's go for break. Hey, hi everyone. Is all back from break? Is everyone back from break? Once confirming. Okay, wonderful. Great. And regarding to your question, I think Abhijit has asked regarding any project assistance, Abhijit, you can get in touch with the, if it is something a self project, I don't think so. We can support you over there. Maybe if, in case if you're enrolling with ExcelR or things like that, you will be getting some support from the assignments team. All right, because there is no source how I can connect with you. And so yes, hope you can understand that. And definitely one point to be noted is nothing but whenever you're working on the project, so definitely it will take a lot of time to complete. But what I can suggest nothing but maybe I can just give some ideas. If it is something like a project script explanation or script error, it is not going to work because unless and until I see your business case, how you're taking it, it will take some time to understand your problem statement itself. So for that, definitely we have to sit one-on-one and we have to talk about it. So for that, it is since it is not possible, so we can't take it over there with respect to this platform. Hope you can understand that. All right. So now let's get into the next topic, that is Python libraries. Now, what is this particular libraries? Let me share the screen now. You can note it down. See this. And why we need Python libraries? Let's take an understanding. So Python libraries is nothing but a library is nothing but a set of methods or functions. Methods and functions both are same. Python libraries are nothing but it's a set of methods or functions, and we can also say attributes, attributes, and we can say data types. All right. So library is a set of methods, attributes, and data types. Okay. Now, what are the different libraries which is available with respect to Python? That is Python-based libraries. Library is nothing but a set of functions. For example, we have worked on this pandas. Pandas is nothing but what? It is a library which holds multiple functions like data frame function, apply function, read underscore CSV function, and two categorical function, two datetime function. So pandas is nothing but a collection of multiple functions and some attributes like something like shape. mm, we have yeah, something we will be getting into it. Shape we have. There are a lot of attributes we have, and also we have data types like int 64, a float 64, object data type. In this way, we are having pandas related data type. So a library is nothing but a collection of different functions, attributes, and data types. Now, that's what the, and also one more thing, library and package. These two things are similar terms. Sometimes some people, they say, I got one package, library, sorry, pandas package. Some people, they would say, I got NumPy library. So package and library, both are similar terms like methods and functions. Now the different library names here, I just quoted it. So pandas, NumPy, we call it as numerical Python, Matplotlib, Seaborn, sklearn, SkyPy, TensorFlow, Keras, Pickle. So these are all the few libraries which I just mentioned. And each and every library is having its own purposes. The purpose of each and every library is different. For example, if I'm just speaking about pandas, pandas important function is, or we can say the major purpose, nothing but data manipulation. Data manipulation is nothing but we can say is for data analysis. So without pandas library, it is not possible for us to go for data analysis. So very important library, this pandas. Second one is NumPy, numerical Python. To perform some any numerical operations like I want to find out the mean value, median, and the standard deviation and everything. So a lot of numerical operations we are having this NumPy. We will be having an idea about it. Matplotlib and Seaborn, these two libraries we use it for data visualization purpose. And sklearn for data preparation model building. That is within sklearn library, we are having all this machine learning models like linear regression, logistic regression, decision trees, random forest, and the gradient boosting, ADA boost algorithm. So in this way, we are having a lot of machine learning algorithms, which is available inside sklearn. Not only algorithms, we are having for data preparation, we are having something called as label encoder and the one hot encoder. There are a lot of other things which we have. So this sklearn holds all this machine learning algorithms and also data preparation related packages it has. And sorry, function it has. SciPy is for scientific operations. To perform some statistics related stuffs, we have the SciPy library. And TensorFlow and Keras. So these two libraries are pretty much important for dealing with image and video related data. So I want to go for image classification. I'm looking onto the image and I wanted to make a classification between whether it is Sultan or whether it is Adnan. So now I want to go with the classification. I need Keras library. I'm looking into one video and I wanted to detect whether maybe we can say Renika is smiling, or let's say Arbas is getting angry. I wanted to look into the video, and I have to make some classification kind of stuff. So I need again this Keras and TensorFlow library, which is a very base. Pickle is again a library used for serialization and deserialization. So, and again, there are other libraries which I have not quoted it here. The point here is nothing but we do have hundreds of libraries which serves for different purposes here. So now what we are going to do is nothing but we are going to pick up one library, that is pandas, as the first library. We are going to pick up this pandas and we are going to spend 2 days time to understand how exactly we can use Python for data analysis. As I said before, Python can be used for both data analysis and also data, automation stuff. So now 2 days, tomorrow and day after tomorrow, we are going to spend some time for this pandas, and we are trying to, and we will be understanding a lot of steps, how exactly this would work. All right. Now, see this. Let me, I think I will be sharing some files in your dashboard tomorrow. Make sure you're downloading all the files and you're joining the session. And I will be giving to the team and you can get the materials beforehand itself. But without downloading this data, don't come back. So I will be giving you all these files. Let me show that. There's something which I delivered to my previous batch. So see this, I will be giving you all this 10 files. Okay, so totally I'm having 10 files. Sorry. Yep. So totally I'm having 10 files here. I will be giving that all these 10 files in your dashboard before you come, and by before 1 o'clock you can find all these materials. Even now post the session I will be I will just hand over these files to the team. So but this will be uploaded I think before 1:30 or 2 tomorrow it will be uploaded in your dashboard. Look into it and download all these files. Once you have downloaded, okay, once it is done, then what you have to do, you need to come back to your Jupyter notebook. All right, get into your appropriate folder. So you this our folder, and create a new folder, and name it as pandas deep dive or anything. Within this, upload all the files. Click on upload. All right, click on upload. Download all the files. So click on upload, 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 upload. All right. So after uploading all the files, click on new Python 3. This is the task for today. Make sure you're doing this. And also one more task I thought of giving it. Try to explore. This is daily task number 4. Explore something called as list comprehension. All right, list comprehension. This is pretty much important for tomorrow's session. In case if you're not working on it, again, you will be stuck at that point in time and you won't be able to move to the next thing. Explore list comprehension, very much important for tomorrow's session. So now I'm going to rename it as pandas for data analysis. Anything you can just rename it. Okay, great, Nabila. So now what I want to do is nothing but see this. So now import. So whenever you wanted to work with any libraries, first you have to make sure whether it is installed in your local machine or not. So to make sure that what we do is nothing but we just try to give this and pip install pandas. Okay, shift tab. Pip is nothing but pre-program installer, something like that. Pip abbreviation, something. It's package management software written in Python. And what this pip stands for? Yeah, pip stands for preferred installer program. Okay, preferred installer program. That's what this pip stands for basically. So now with respect to that pip, this is the command install. I want to install pandas. So pandas is already installed in my local machine. And pandas, or if you go with NumPy, sklearn, most of the libraries, whichever I listed it down, everything has already been installed in your local machine when you have been installing Anaconda Navigator itself. So in case if you're working with any other libraries like high-end libraries like K-Train, Transformers, in that way there are other spacey library. In this way, we are having a lot of other libraries which again serves for different purposes. Now we are not going to get into that, but the point is nothing but the very base libraries will get automatically installed in your local machine when you're installing Anaconda Navigator. Now post this installation into your local machine. Now we have to import that package within this Jupyter environment. So import pandas. Okay. And as PD is nothing but why we give as PD, because as PD is nothing but we call this nickname, or technically we call this alias. Nickname is nothing but here I'm able to see maybe Sultan Khan Pathan. So that is the full name of Sultan. But how I'm addressing Sultan is nothing but Sultan. But the full name of Sultan is Sultan Khan Pathan. So now if I wanted to call Sultan Khan Pathan, I can't address him with the full name often, right? So it is becoming a painful task for me to call him. So now what I'm just doing, I'm just going with some short names. Hey Sultan, so can you just come and do this particular task? Can you complete this one? So the point here is nothing but the similar way, each and every library, whenever we are going with, we just try to give some short name. Let's say import NumPy, we try to go with NP. So now with the name of as is nothing but we are trying to address that library with PD. So what we do, PD is not something fixed here. That is it's just mostly we try to use it. Even you can go with any other one alphabet or two alphabets, up to our choice. But if I'm just writing PD, it's more convenient for me to know, hey, I'm speaking about pandas. So that is the one thing which, and mostly in the industry we try to go with PD itself. Now PD we just given it. Now PD dot, you can just give tab button. You will be seeing pandas related functions, API, array, see this the category calculator, concat function, cross tab. And here if you see int 32, 64 data types and everything. So there are different functions you're able to see, right? See this is very much important. Now I wanted to read one file, pandas read underscore CSV. Now without pandas, you can't even read a file. Now see this, RE, just typing read CSV. Let's say I wanted to read one file, since it's a function open and close parenthesis. So it is a built-in function. Now someone has already written the function. Maybe it will have a lot of arguments inside it. So what we can do, since we have spent one day to understand positional arguments, default arguments and everything, this is a built-in function. This also can have built-in, default arguments. So I'm placing my cursor inside, shift triple time I'm giving it, see this, file path, separator, delimiter, how many default parameters I'm having it here. So these functions definitions has already been written. In case if you're not passing any values, the default values it will get executed. Okay. So what exactly this will do? Read a comma separated file into the data frame. So now what do I do? Let me maybe copy this. File path we have to give it is equal to single quotes. I'm giving it. Now let's say I want to read this comma separated file, CSV file it is. Maybe you can take a look at it, how exactly this file like age, comma, sex, comma. So whenever I see comma, I just create one column separately. That's what I want, age, comma, and everything. Now what we want to do? Now let's say the file name is, let me copy this, Control C, come back, paste it, Shift Enter. Now see this. I got this data in a data frame format. Now I wanted to read some other file, maybe sales 27. So this also a comma separated file. See after date, I'm able to see a comma. Let me try to read it. PD dot read underscore comma separated file. So in case if you wanted to give file or buffer, you can give it, or directly you can just also give it within quotes. I'll be giving sales stand. Let me copy this. I'm able to get this particular data in a data structure format, right? Now I wanted to read the data. Let's say this file, I want to read it. U.user. Now, is this a comma separated file? This is a mode separated file, right? It is not a comma separated file. Now, but I wanted to have this data in a data frame format, like rows and columns. I have to divide it basically. Now, whenever I see this kind of division, I wanted to create it in one column. So the file name is u.user. So am I having anything like read mod separated file, pd.read? It can read CSV Excel file. If it is an Excel file directly, we can use this command. Feather, FWF, there are HTML file, we can read it, JSON file, we can read it, and SAS file. These are the file, SQL file, we can SPSS and everything. So now we don't have anything like mod separated file to read. So what we do, read underscore CSV, we try to give that u.user. It will throw me in, it will create it, but it is not actually dividing whenever it sees this, what is that, division. So what we do, let me give a comma, and here we are having something called a separator. So the default separator is comma, right? Now I'm copying this argument. Now I'm going to change this default argument to within single quotes. I'm just going to give mod separated file. So above your enter key, we are able to have this key. You can give shift and press that key, you will be getting this. Now if I'm seeing it, now see this, because the default separator is comma, default argument. Now I wanted to change it so that I can read the file within my Jupyter notebook and I can perform some data analysis. So are you all able to get this point, what I'm saying? Wonderful, great. So now let me show you some other file. So this file, what separated file it is? What separated file it is? Great, Aditi. It is a tab separated file. It is not arrow finish. It is a tab 5 spaces. So whenever you're able to see this tab, this 5 spaces, automatically this any interface it will try to take within arrow spaces. So what we do is nothing but we try to do pd dot read. Are we having anything like tsv tab separated file? Are we having anything like this? No, we don't have it. So what we do, again, we go with read CSV. We try to give this file name data.tsv.text file. There's a file, yes, here. And if you're doing it, it will throw me an error. It will say some error tokenized C data and everything. So now we know what mistake we have done. So we just need to say, comma, that separator is equal to tab separated file we have to give it. So now we got the data in a structured format. So this is how you can read the data by uploading in your current directory within your Jupyter notebook. And if it is throwing an error, just read, just look onto the nature of the data set and accordingly you can read it out. If it is an Excel sheet, okay, you can, if you're having the data in Excel sheet, you don't need to use this read CSV. You can directly use which option? Read Excel file, Excel XX or Excel X doc format. You can read with respect to read Excel. That's it. Able to understand what I'm saying? All right. Now, the last part of today's session is nothing but again reading a file. Maybe you might be thinking, hey, here we just uploaded all our files in the current directory and we have taken it. Now, suppose I don't want to upload it. Let's say the file is in some other location. Is it possible for me to read the file by giving the location? Yes, it is possible. So now what you can do, just let me locate one file. See, this file is available in this batch, like data since 12th October batch. Within this, the same file, let's say insurance.csv file, that's why I want to take it. Let me copy this, Control C, copying this. Let me come back here. Now we are in this folder, EDL folder. So let me give it here. PD dot, it's a CSV file. So within single quotes, I'm mentioning, giving the location, and forward slash, you have to give out your file name, insurance.csv. File name is also important. So since it is already a CSV comma separated file, you don't need to give it. But again, if you give it, it will throw in error saying Unicode error. So Unicode escape codec can't decode bytes in position. That is nothing but it is clearly pointing here. Now, whenever you want to read a file from any other location, we try to give, before this colon, we try to give something called as R, which means that read a file from another location. Okay. So now I'm able to read a file from another location. So now from how I just learned everything by doing the mistake, by copying the error, whatever I'm getting it, pasting it in Google, and it took a lot of time. But again, the point is nothing but we are trying to explore the things. What are the new things which is available here? Now, whatever the basics of Python we learned it, when we are working on this exercise, it will make sense completely. So the point here is nothing but today we learned about what are all the different data structures with Python and how we have to choose between them and what is the importance of a library, because here without pandas I can't read any files, I can't do any data analysis. Firstly, I can't import any files, so forget about data analysis. I can't even import any structured data into my Jupyter notebook. So for data manipulations, for data analysis, we have to use pandas library. And how to read a file from the current directory, how to read a file from another directory, we learned it. Any questions up to this, you can ask me now. Binesh, try to copy and paste it on Google. You will be getting it. I think I've just shown you. Again, I don't want, after 20 days, I don't want you to depend on me. Let's try with that kind of training also. Copy the same answer. Pip installer. So try to copy it and paste it on Google. You will be getting it over there. So Julie, what is the task for today? Today's task is um, come up with 2 examples for your all data structure related methods. For example, your list has append function, clear function. So for each and every function, 2 example, your list has few functions, set has few functions, dictionary has few functions. Explore that. Task number 2 is nothing but explore your list comprehension. There is something called as list comprehension. So so that you can list to comprehension, you can take it within 30 minutes, because if you have completed task number 2, your task number 4, it won't take much time. So these are the 2 tasks, and the third one is nothing but you have to download all the files which is there in your dashboard, the files whichever I've shown you today, and attend tomorrow's session, because I'm not going to again explain uh, where the files are and how to download it and how to upload it. I'm not going to explain it tomorrow. If you are asking this question tomorrow, I would say that go watch yesterday's recording. Everything I'm just giving it today. All right, let's make it. Let's be on the same page when we are coming tomorrow's session. Let's not. Let's make the time useful. Okay. All right, Abhijit, is it possible 3D model? Abhijit, I haven't used 3D model so far. Maybe try once, Abhijit. I haven't worked on the project. What you're saying, Abhijit. Sorry for that. 3D hologram. No, I haven't. I have not worked on that. I think you're speaking about the one which I haven't. I don't have any experience there. I have worked on some predictive maintenance projects, something like scanner failure detection, how when the scanner is going to get failed, and those kind of projects I worked on, and some banking related projects I worked on. So these are all my strengths, basically providing some good recommendations, automatic recommendations to the customers, so that the customers will not leave the bank. So these are all the areas which I worked on. All right. Fine then. Hope you are good with today's session. Let's come back tomorrow at 7 o'clock. We can continue it. All right. Take care, everyone. Good night. See you all tomorrow at the same time. Bye bye.